What's up, everybody? On this episode, we replaced the fuel pump in the 86. Hey, what's up, guys? Hey, listen, I got the hood on. And I got some other stuff done to it, not really much, but basically it's been washed. The hood is on, and haven't really had a chance for you guys to take a proper cruise with me in it. So it's nice, and the sun's going down. It's kind of chilly out, but let's go for a quick cruise. So the clutch is, they said it'd be real chattery whenever you're breaking it in, and we are still in a braking period. I've only got about 50 miles in the car. Not even. I got 40 miles on it since it's been rebuilt. So the engine's still cold, but it's not dying. If it's really, really cold, like really cold, then yeah, you got to kind of feather the pedal a little bit a few times to keep it started. But otherwise, I can't believe I haven't pulled over this thing yet because it sounds the clutch grabs and bites instantly. Hear that sputter. Hello everybody, welcome back. Listen, today we are going to be replacing the fuel pump in the 86 Mustang here. As you just saw, test driving this thing, I am starting to notice it sputter on load and on high RPMs. That just means we're probably not getting enough fuel. I knew that was going to happen. I was expecting it. Just kind of forgot about it. You start getting driving and get happy, and next thing you know, you're like, where's my power? Oh yeah, I had a stock fuel pump trying to feed a much healthier engine. So that's got to go. So guys, when you increase, you increase the air, the amount of air that goes into the engine, you've got to increase the amount of fuel, and the capacity of the stock injectors aren't up to the task, especially whenever you put in forced induction or nitrous or something, bigger heads, anything like that. This motor's flowing quite a bit more air. Obviously, when you stroke it, you increase the bore and stroke size, or just the bore size. Increase the intake, increase the airflow going through the intake with bigger heads or headers, and different tune, more aggressive tune and stuff like that. All that is going to allow more air to the motor. We all know that these are just big air pumps, and the more air you can put in the motor, the faster you can get out of the motor, the more power you're going to make. But to keep the air-fuel ratio stoic, you've got to increase the fuel as you increase the air. So the stock 19-pound injectors is just fine, and the stock fuel pump is just fine. But these are 30-pound injectors, or 32-pound. The 30-pound injectors, and they're just not cutting it. So what are we going to put in it? Let's look at it. All right, let's see what we have to work with here. So a while back, I picked this up from one of the members on the North Texas Fox Body Mustang Club. He sold this to me for a great deal. This is an Aeromotive pump 11540. It is a regular gas and E85 compatible. So if I ever decided to run E85, this pump will do the task, and it's pretty. Comes with a filter, which mine is going to need, I'm sure. Comes with the wrap that goes around your pump. It even comes with a wire for the wiring harness. Now this is not going to go for the stock. This is basically if you're making your own wire harness. and you're powering this in some other application, but we're going to wire this in the stock harness. Instructions. I guess they call this a bypass hose, or this is actually a deep hose that feeds up to the top of your tank. I'll show you how that goes in a minute. And last but not least, this pretty little pump. Oh yeah. And hose ties. But yeah, there it is, guys. This is an Aeromotive Stealth 11540 part number, and this is good up to 340 gallons per hour, I believe. So that is pretty good. This thing's going to flow way more than enough fuel than my current setup needs, but this will work for my turbo. That's why I'm putting in this big of a pump now, because I'm going to need this for the turbo and larger injectors. So do it right, do it now. The only really caveat to this, guys, it is going to cause a lot of fuel circulation when the motor's not needing the fuel. So this is going to cause a lot of fuel to be sent very quickly to the motor, and it's only going to give the motor, the regulator is only going to allow the motor to give the fuel to the injectors from what the motor is demanding. So that's how fuel pumps work, right? These things will put a certain amount of pressure all the way up to your pressure or your regulator. And the regulator regulates the amount of PSI to your fuel rails that goes into your injectors, and as the motor demands more fuel, it's going to take more volume. So this guy is going to definitely do it, but like I said, until I get the turbo, this is going to cause a lot of recirculation, which means it's going to send more fuel to the regulator than it needs, and it's going to send the rest of it back to the tank and the return line. So the return line is going to actually probably be sending a lot of fuel to it. As you recirculate fuel, from the regulator tank back, and you're recirculating, it actually heats the fuel up. The steps are pretty simple. You just want to make sure that you don't have a lot of fuel in the tank. I've got about a quarter of a tank, which is more fuel than I'd like. But like I said, I'm kind of put this on my priority list because of the sputtering I had. I want to be able to put this in and maybe test drive it tomorrow and make sure the sputtering is gone from the fuel pump. But I've got more fuel in it than I really would like, because when you do take the tank down and tilt it down, you've got to pull the fuel neck off, and it's going to splash fuel around. So you want to be careful with that, guys. Obviously, undo the electrical system. That's the first thing we're going to do, is disconnect the battery. You don't want any kind of electrical anything near this. You don't want, especially right now, a heater, hot fire anywhere near it. In fact, just the heat alone could ignite vapors. So not only am I going to turn it off, we're going to get it out of the garage completely. So there's going to be no way that any kind of fumes or vapors can collect and possibly ignite from the hot fuel pump. But putting this in is going to be pretty easy. It's just a matter of really undoing the straps, dropping the tank down. As it drops down from the straps, you have to release the fuel filler neck from the tank. My fuel filler neck gasket is shot, and some time ago, I don't know, some while ago back when I was planning on doing this, I got one. So we have a new gas tank to fuel filler neck gasket. Nice and pliable. These get hard and brittle, and they break and they crack, and they'll allow dirt to get into your gas tank, which we don't like. We're replacing this as well. We will also be replacing the fuel filter. I will not be doing that tonight. So I want to talk real quick about the right way and the wrong way to do this. You probably know exactly what I'm talking about. The wrong way to do this is to cut an access hole in your trunk and pulling the pump from the top of the car from the trunk panel. Newer cars made access holes. I think the SC95s may have had that. I don't really know, but some model cars do have access holes underneath the trunk floor. You can actually take out the carpet, and you'll see a panel on it. Unscrew the panel, and that gives you access to the fuel pump. These cars don't have that, so a lot of guys think it's a good idea to cut a hole in the trunk floor to do it. Granted, remember, guys, there's fuel lines coming from the top of the tank, all from the pump. So the center pump stays here. You've got your vent line, and you've got your pressure line, you've got your return line coming out of the tank, going up to the front of the car, and cutting a hole with a wheel around fuel lines is probably a bad idea. So anyways, not to mention you've got to fabricate the screws, the panels, and you've got now an ugly thing. How many times are you going to be doing this? Hopefully not that many. It's not that hard, so don't do that. Okay, no power to car. Okay, I've got the car up pretty high. You want to give yourself plenty of room to work, guys. This is more than enough. I got it way up, got it on jacks, and leave the jack handy because you're going to need that to support the tank when we drop it. Next thing you want to do is relieve the fuel pressure. or we were pulling the lines. And right now, since the engine's been running, it hasn't been sitting, there is pressure in the fuel system. So, two ways you can do this. Okay, you can relieve pressure from the Schrader valve. The Schrader valve is right here. Well, you can't see it on my car because I've got a fuel pressure regulator gauge in there. But you can just make sure you know that it's high pressure. You could stick a pin in there, relieve the pressure, put a whole bunch of towels around it. Make sure you be careful, watch your eyes and stuff. So relieving pressure from the Schrader valve under the hood is one way. The other way to do it is to disconnect your fuel pump relay, which you could do underneath the seat. Disconnect it, or, which I think is much easier, find this connection right here, guys. Yours should probably be more tucked in a better position, but right up top, this is the wiring harness to your fuel pump. Simply disconnect it. Now that's disconnected, let's open the garage door. Start it until the engine dies. Well, crap, make sure your battery's hooked in first. Don't unplug the battery yet. And be really quiet, you pay attention here, when you turn the key on, you won't hear the fuel pump run. Okay, relay clicks on, fuel pump does not prime. Put it in neutral. Okay, so she's already dead. Okay, now you disconnect your negative terminal on your battery. Go ahead and get yourself a 916. What you've got here is two strap bolts. You got one there, one on the other side. Now, as soon as you start loosening this, the tank is going to want to drop. Okay, guys, this is the fuel filler side. Before you remove the other strap, let's take a look at this here. This is not in the right spot on the tank right there, and I think maybe this tank's been replaced and it doesn't have that. The 89 tank has a spot here to hold this fuel filler nut, but look how crappy mine is. My gasket is shot, so now I don't even have the bolts in. Now's the time to replace this, and I'm kind of ticked that I don't have this. On my 89, the 4 bolts that hold your fuel filler neck up to the gas cap itself, that ring from the bottom side that you saw on mine was kind of torn and loose. You have to remove that. On the 89 I had out there, I had to remove those 4 bolts and actually loosen the cap itself from the inside of the tank, just to give enough wiggle room for that pipe. Mine's already pretty shot and loose as it is, as you can see, so I was able to just just drop the tank. I didn't have as much stuff as you guys would. At the tank here, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the heater and move it. This is where I have potentials of spilling gas. So. Okay, now that our tank is low enough where we can access it, first thing I'm going to do is remove the electrical connector to it here. There is a tab on the back. You should be able to just pull up on it. Like that. There we go. This is how it's packed with tons of electrical grease, but just pull the tab on the back and it should pull out just like it did. If you don't want to smell gas as much as I don't like smelling gas, I put a extra glove around this. That'll help keep some of the fumes out as we're working. I want to go ahead and get these clips off. Okay, so you want to gently release the clips just like that. Good time to get some towels ready. Okay. Got one line. Okay, and for the back line here, I think we're going to need one of these fuel clip removers here. These quick disconnect lock connectors. Should be able to slide it in there. Okay, like I said, guys, get you some towels because this is gonna leak. The last line you need to get is back here, and this is your vapor return line, which everybody knows mine's been disconnected, but if you can get back there, you should be able to disconnect this guy. Down. Let's make some room. Make room. Move back. Go. Slowly lower both these down here. Alright guys, now get the fuel pump out. If you see this, what you'll see is a lock ring on it. This is going to be the internal ring. You'll see the outside ring that actually is part of the fuel tank, and you'll see the inside ring goes around right here. There will be some indentions or some pieces of, I guess, some flanges that stick up. You're going to want to just simply tap these things with a wooden block. You don't want to use metal and create sparks if you don't have to, so I'm going to put a wooden block on one of these flanges. And it should spin it just like that. So it just spun free and loose. The ring should come out just like this. Set it on the tank, and now the pump should come right out. Easier said than done. There you go. Now you gotta try to get this, hopefully get the filter out without tearing it. But we do have a new one. Alright guys, go ahead and get your pump out on the table. It is going to spill fuel whether you like it or not. You may want to go ahead and take this to a place where you can try to get some of this fuel out, but take a picture of this if you want to. This is how your pump is going to be wired. You've got two wires here, a big one and a small one. You got a red one and a black one, a positive and negative, going into the pump. You got the whole pump sandwich. So ideally what you're doing, I mean, it's really not rocket science. We'll be replacing this pump and wiring in these two wires to go in the top of my new pump. You'll see that these two wires are built into the pump like this. So what we're going to actually do is get these crimped on really good, maybe even solder it, get them nice and make the connection strong as can be, you know, on these two, and then that's really it. So the first thing you want to do though is just separate the two halves. Okay, pop your fuel filter off like that. Whew, this stinks. Get it out of my sight. Okay. The fuel pump will simply slide out of the bottom. Go ahead and keep this rubber retainer. This aside. Let's go ahead and unplug the fuel pump. Okay, so after much pushing and prodding and pulling, the old pump is off. This is the piece we want to keep here. We're going to simply just cut, connect the black to black and the red to the red. Okay guys, good thing for the lovely members out there of the Fox Body community. This is a one-way valve. You can see it's got a little slit in it right there, and it allows for fuel to come out but not back in. So this we're going to put back on. Good to know. Okay guys, connection is nice, soldered, and heat shrunk. So the next step really to do is we want to get the tubing in place. This is going to be obviously the output. Aeromotive gives you a tube. We're just going to slide this in place here. Not gonna lie, I think I feel a little high right now. My eyes are burning. Okay, socks on. We're gonna go ahead and put on the screen filter here. Should just snap right on. Just like that. Okay. Now, we'll go solder this thing back in the car. I'm back. Day 2. Last night was not so much of a success, guys. The battery died. It's getting really late. I was out here until about 1 o'clock. And decided before I went into bed, I'd go ahead and just make sure that it worked. Turn it on while I left the tank down. It turns out, it clicked on one time. And it wouldn't click on again. So, thinking that something was wired wrong, I went through everything, went through the inertia switch, checked the relay, it was still clicking on. Everything checked out good. Ended up plugging in the old pump and it spun right up. So the conclusion is I have it done. So that pump did not work. So what that means is, well, I had to go out and buy another one. So I'm a fan of this pump. I'm going to stick with it one more time. If this one fails, then we got problems. Also picked up a Motocraft fuel filter, so we're gonna go get this guy replaced as well. Yeah, continuing on. Okay guys, got the fuel pump out. This is the one that died on me. Just to prove here that it is dead. Nothing. Okay guys, before we go any further, let's make sure the new one works. It does. Okay. Okay guys, I've got the new pump, the new pump, now installed, nice and soldered, heat shrunk, and zip tied and ready to go. This one sure worked just fine, but let's get this thing ready to put in. So first I want to do is just kind of clean it up a little bit. Okay, look at your gasket over. I'm looking at mine over here, and it looks like it's in pretty good shape. Pretty confident that this whole setup on my system has been replaced once before. This gasket still looks pretty new. It's not expanded. So what we're going to do is sit this in place on the tank. Actually, I'm going to go put a little bit of lube on it, and then we're going to place it on the tank and get ready to drop the pump. And the lube will help it keep it from whenever you cinch down the lock ring from maybe causing this thing to twist and bind. And okay, so this is lubed. I'm going to set this in place. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to pull off my rubber glove on the side here. So it's a baffle inside of here to keep the fuel from sloshing around and make sure there's always fuel in the bottom of the pump. So being able to see it kind of helps us position it in the spot we need to. Before I put the fuel filter on, I'm going to actually kind of put it in place in here. I want to see where my fuel filter should be placed, because if you can see, the baffle is right up against the side of the pump. Filter sock is on. We're going to kind of snake it in. Yo. Okay. Alright guys, now the pump's in the spot we want it on top. We just need to get the lock ring back over it. Okay, putting the lock ring back on is the same as taking it off. Just find the notch. Okay, cool. It's not really rocket science here, guys. Put the lines back on the way they came, and in reverse. So return line. Click. Make sure there's plenty of lithium grease, guys, or electrical grease, dielectrical grease inside of this connector. Mine was pretty well packed. Okay, real quick before I finish buttoning everything up, let's make sure it works. That's success. Okay, before I button everything back up, I'm just going to replace the fuel filter now. Okay, fuel pump replacements is a success. I'm going to take this thing for a quick cruise. Overall, it wasn't too bad. It was a lot easier to put on. I just had to do it twice because of the fuel pump, but the first one was bad, of course. But yeah, I mean, it was a few hours last night and a couple hours today, so, and I was filming it, so it wasn't like, you know, I was dedicating all my time to it. Overall, it's running okay. I think it'd be running a lot better. Something's wrong with the tune. It's sputtering quite a bit. At higher RPM, so it's like it's missing a little bit. It's not running bad, it's just missing. Not right. It's so freaking loud though.